That sound in your ears right now, that high-pitched ringing, that constant hiss that seems to come from inside your own skull rather than anything in the room around you. Your doctor probably told you it was age-related. Maybe they handed you a pamphlet about white noise machines and told you to learn to live with it. But here is what they did not tell you. That ringing is not a random malfunction, it is a distress signal. Your auditory nerve is being starved of the specific nutrients it needs to function, and until that starvation is addressed, the noise will not stop, no matter how many white noise machines you buy. I am Dr. Robert Anderson. I have spent years looking at the clinical research on tinnitus, and the pattern I keep seeing is the same one over and over. Patients with completely normal test results who are still suffering, and a medical system that keeps telling them nothing is wrong. Today I am going to show you exactly what is actually going wrong inside the ear and the 8 specific nutritional failures that conventional medicine keeps missing. And I want you to stay with me until the end because the last one I cover is the one that explains why your ringing gets louder at 3 in the morning. Most people have never heard that explained before. Let us start with the anatomy, because once you understand this, everything else makes sense. Deep inside your inner ear, there is a tiny vessel called the labyrinthine artery. It is so small that a single red blood cell barely fits through it. Now imagine what happens when your body is inflamed, or when your blood becomes even slightly thicker than normal. That microscopic vessel constricts. The hair cells inside your cochlea, which are responsible for converting sound vibrations into electrical signals, begin to suffocate. And when they suffocate, they do not just go quiet, they malfunction. They send false signals to the brain. Your brain hears those false signals as sound. That is the ringing. And here is the part that makes this even harder to fix. Research shows that tinnitus is not just happening in the ear. It is a failure of the brain to filter those error messages out. The brain cells start firing together in a repeating loop. They get stuck processing a signal that is not even real. To stop the noise, we have to fix the circulation and break that loop at the same time. That is what the next 8 factors are about. Number 1. Zinc. Your inner ear holds one of the highest concentrations of zinc in your entire body. The reason is that the hearing process generates significant oxidative stress. Zinc is the antioxidant defense that protects your hair cells from that damage. Without enough of it, those cells oxidize, they degrade, the false signals increase. But here is the problem most people never catch. You might be eating zinc and still not absorbing it. High amounts of phytates from processed grains block zinc absorption in the gut. Excess caffeine does the same. You can be doing everything right on paper and still have your inner ear running on empty. Focus on bioavailable sources, pumpkin seeds, lean proteins, and remove the blockers from your morning routine first. Number 2. Ototoxic substances. While you are trying to fix your ears, you may be accidentally damaging them at the same time. There is a class of substances called ototoxic compounds. Common over-the-counter pain relievers, including high-dose aspirin and certain anti-inflammatories, cause direct chemical damage to the hair cells in the cochlea. They trigger a surge of free radicals that overwhelm your zinc and magnesium defenses. If you are taking these regularly for joint pain or headaches, you are fighting the fire on one side and feeding it on the other. Natural anti-inflammatories like curcumin and boswellia can replace many of these for everyday inflammation without the auditory cost. Number 3. Vitamin B12. Think of your auditory nerve like a high-voltage electrical cable. The myelin sheath is the rubber insulation wrapped around it. When that insulation is intact, the signal travels cleanly. When it thins, the electrical signal leaks out. The brain interprets that leakage as a constant buzz or hiss. As we age, the stomach loses its ability to produce a protein called intrinsic factor, which is needed to absorb B12 from food. This leads to gradual demyelination of the nerve sheath. And here is the part most doctors miss. A B12 level that falls in the normal range on a lab report can still be deeply insufficient for nerve repair. For someone with tinnitus, levels need to be optimized for repair, not just flagged as not deficient. Number 4. Magnesium and the glutamate problem. Have you noticed the ringing gets louder when you are stressed or exhausted? That is not your imagination. Under stress, the brain floods the auditory cortex with a neurotransmitter called glutamate. Glutamate is the accelerator of the nervous system. In normal amounts, it is necessary. In excess, it pushes the auditory nerves to fire so rapidly, they begin to damage themselves. This is called excitotoxicity. Magnesium is the brake pedal that regulates glutamate activity. Without enough of it, the auditory system loses its ability to calm down after stress. The ringing gets louder and stays louder longer. Almonds, avocados, and dark leafy greens are some of the most efficient dietary sources of the forms of magnesium that cross into the nervous system. Number 5. Vitamin D3. This one surprises people because most still associate vitamin D only with bone health. But D3 is a neurosteroid. It directly regulates the expression of genes responsible for protecting the auditory pathway and managing inflammation inside the inner ear. Research is now showing that people with chronic tinnitus consistently have lower D3 levels than those without it. D3 is essentially the repair coordinator of the nervous system. If the coordinator is absent, the repairs do not happen. The inflammation stays, the ringing stays. 15 minutes of direct morning sunlight supports D3 production. Wild-caught salmon and eggs are strong dietary sources. If your levels have not been tested recently, that is worth addressing. Number 6. The circadian rhythm of your ears. Here is what I promised to explain earlier. Why does the ringing get louder at 3 in the morning? It is not just because the room is quiet. Your auditory system has its own circadian rhythm. At night, the body shifts into repair mode for the nervous system. If the raw materials needed for that repair are not available, including zinc, B12, and magnesium, the repair process stalls. The brain detects the broken signal and amplifies it, trying to locate and fix the problem. That amplification is what wakes you up at 3 in the morning with the ringing louder than it was all day. The practical implication is that your last meal of the day should be the most nutrient-dense meal for auditory health. Timing your intake to support overnight repair gives the brain the materials it needs to work with instead of sounding the alarm. Number 7. Blood viscosity and microcirculation. Your inner ear is supplied by vessels thinner than a strand of human hair. If your blood carries high levels of inflammatory markers, it thickens. It moves slowly. It cannot efficiently deliver zinc, B12, or any other nutrient to the hair cells that need them. Omega-3 fatty acids directly address this. They make cell membranes more fluid and flexible. They reduce the inflammatory proteins that thicken the blood. Pairing omega-3 rich foods with natural vasodilators like ginger and garlic improves the delivery of every other nutrient we have talked about. The pipes need to be open for anything else to work. Number 8. Oxidative load in the cochlea. The hair cells of the cochlea are among the most metabolically active cells in the body. They generate significant oxidative waste as a byproduct of processing sound all day long. Antioxidant compounds, including those found in dark berries and green tea, help neutralize that waste before it accumulates to levels that damage the cells. This is not a luxury. For someone whose tinnitus is driven by hair cell damage at the cochlear level, antioxidant support is foundational. Here is what this means for you starting tonight. A piece of wild-caught salmon gives you D3 and omega-3s together. A large bed of baby spinach adds magnesium. A handful of raw pumpkin seeds adds zinc. Dress it with olive oil, fresh lemon, and fresh ginger to support microcirculation. That single meal delivers a significant portion of what your auditory system is starving for. Your nerves did not reach this state overnight. Recovery takes weeks, not days. But the first signs that things are shifting typically appear between week 3 and week 6. The ringing does not disappear all at once. It starts to feel further away, less demanding, less constant. That shift is the sound of circulation returning to a nerve that has been cut off for a long time. Here is what I need you to understand before you go. Tinnitus and cognitive health are connected through the same pathways we talked about today. Nerve inflammation, microcirculation, failure, and B12 deficiency that drive the ringing in your ears are the same mechanisms that affect memory focus and mental clarity. In the next video, I am going to show you exactly how those connections work and what to do about both at the same time. Subscribe so you do not miss it.